Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today we will be taking a look at LEGO Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, set number 75946, the Hungarian Horntail Triwizard Challenge. This set includes 265 pieces, 4 minifigures, and it retails for about $30 in the United States, where it released on July 1st. However, in other places it released June 1st, and in others still it won't release until August 1st. But without any more further ado, let's begin with the minifigures. So here we have our first figure, which is the new Harry Potter minifigure for Goblet of Fire, or more specifically, one of the 3 Harrys we're getting for Goblet of Fire this year. And this guy's pretty simple, but I really like him. Starting off, he gets 2 accessories. One of them we'll get to later, but his first one is a dark brown wand, which is just the same new wand piece we've had since last year. If you don't know how these work, you get 2 in each set that comes with a wand. You always get an extra, obviously unless the set uses 2, but in this case it doesn't, so you get a spare wand with this set for Harry, and it's designed so it can be held upward or pointed out for dueling, which is a really cool design choice, and I really love this new wand design, as it just falls off, but we don't need it anyway for the rest of this segment, so that's perfectly fine. Now Harry has the new mid-legs, and if you don't know how those work, those are 1 brick and 1 plate tall, so they're in between the height of short legs and normal legs, but like the normal minifigure legs that we've had since 1978, they are fully posable, which is quite nice. Anyway, Harry's torso is the only actually exclusive part of this figure, but it's very well done. You have the Hogwarts crest in red and gold, which is nice and very Gryffindor-y. And other than that, you really just have the dark red details of the outfit he's wearing, some ties around the neck, and then just some wrinkles. And again, it's a very simple design, but it looks really good and is really accurate to the scene. At the back, you have a hood, Harry's name with a star underneath, and then just some more wrinkles and a bit more dark red. Yeah, the outfit's a really nice design. Now, Harry's hairpiece in this set and the Goblet of Fire sets is a different one than he gets for the first 3 movies, and this is actually the Lloyd Garmadon hairpiece from the LEGO Ninjago movie in black, and honestly, this is just literally just the perfect hairpiece. If LEGO had designed a hairpiece specifically for this minifigure, it would look exactly like this. This is perfect for Goblet of Fire. It's just the right size, it has just the right part, it covers just the right amount of his forehead, it has just the right amount of over-the-top goofiness to it. It's great. Harry's face, on the other hand, unlike the hairpiece, is the same one that we get in all of the sets with Harry for this year, for both films, but I think it works perfectly fine here. He has this one face with a bit of a normal smile, which has a pretty good likeness to Daniel Radcliffe. And then this other face is definitely more annoyed. I still don't think it's a really fantastic, just full-on aggressive expression. I don't think it gets that across very well. But I think it's still a pretty good face. Yeah. Now, I did mention that Harry gets 2 accessories, and I'm going to have to zoom out a bit for his other one because it's quite large. And it's one that's very important to the scene that takes place in the set. It is Harry's Firebolt broomstick, which is the standard LEGO broomstick piece in black, but with this Technic handlebar piece added on for some footrests, and then just a gold stud with a hole in it to hold that down. And I really like the extra building on this. Not a big fan of the color of the broom, though. Ideally, it would have been in dark brown, but if they didn't have the budget to make a new color, then just like a normal brown would have looked so much better than this, because Really, to me, this reminds me of the Nimbus 2001, which isn't ideal. But anyway, the footrests are really cool because it allows you to pose this guy up a bit better than you can with the standard Harry Potter broom figure, because previously you would just sort of have to, like, put one leg back and just pretend that they were riding the broom, and sort of do something like this. But now, because you have the footrest, let me try to pose it up. Like, put one leg forward and put the footrest under it. Yeah, something like this. This looks pretty good. And then maybe give him his wand in the other hand, pointed outward at the dragon. Let me just, yeah. This looks pretty good. Yes, that is the Harry Potter we get in the set. I think it is a really cool, unique design for him. I love the new hairpiece. And the broomstick, while the coloring isn't perfect, the build works really well. Now, let's move on to the next figure, shall we? So here we have our other Hogwarts champion, Hufflepuff Quidditch captain and 6th year, Cedric Diggory. And this is a really nice figure, honestly. As you can see, his wand is in a standard brown, which is definitely rather common, but it's still a nice color to get. In fact, it's probably the most useful of all of them. Cedric's outfit is pretty well detailed. His legs are not new. We've actually been getting them since 2015 with Kylo Ren from Star Wars The Force Awakens. And we've actually seen them a few different times in Harry Potter now, first on Severus Snape in 2018, and then in 2019, not only on Cedric, but also on Minister Cornelius Fudge. The torso, however, is unique to this set, and it's pretty nice. It's similar to Harry's torso, but definitely more detailed. He has robes going over his just task uniform, and this time the crest is in gold and black to give a more Hufflepuff spin to the colors, and the highlight color in general is now a flame yellow, which looks really nice, honestly, and this is currently the closest thing we have to having Hufflepuff robes, and yeah, I just really like this design. It stands out really nicely, in my opinion. The back has similar prints to Harry with the hood, some wrinkles, and the Diggory name with a star. So that's nice. Interestingly, though, on Cedric, the lettering in the star is in a bright red, whereas on Harry, it's in dark red. I get that on Harry, they probably did it to keep it from clashing with the other red, but honestly, I think it would have made more sense if they just done dark red for Cedric as well in that case. I mean, I do think that the bright red looks better, but in this case, I think that consistency would have been better for them to go with than having Cedric look nicer than Harry. I don't know. Anyway, Cedric is an interesting case when we get up to the face print, because we've previously had a Cedric minifigure last year in the collectible minifigure series, and while this Cedric does not get a new face print, his face here is a reuse of young Han Solo's face from Solo: A Star Wars Story. In the minifigure series, he did, of course, get a special face print just for him, and comparing the two, unpopular opinion, but I prefer this new one. Like, I get that, like, the eyebrows were more accurate on the minifigure series version, which we have here on the left if you can't tell. But I feel so just the expression and sort of, I guess, the character of this new one just works much better for Cedric. He looks noble, I guess, is the best way to put it. But the hairpiece, obviously, is the same as last year's, and Cedric does also get an alternate face, where he looks rather aggressive, which I think that for this dragon task is pretty fitting. Yeah. So that is the Cedric Diggory minifigure in the set. A really great figure to get of a really great character from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And, yeah. now let's move on from our Hogwarts champions to, well, the next champion. That was awkward. So here we have French Beauxbatons champion, Fleur Delacour, and this is another really nicely done figure. I don't like her as much as Cedric, but she's still pretty good. Her wand in this set is in a dark tan color, which is pretty nice to get, and it's quite accurate to how her wand appeared in the movie, so that's good. She has dark blue legs, no printing, but that's fine. And her torso, though, is again a new print. If you haven't noticed by this point, all of the figures in the set have new torso prints, which is nice. Hers is kind of interesting, since in the movie she had a white gold vest on, so it sort of took on a almost a silvery look to it, because that's just how white gold kind of looks, you know? And LEGO decided to go with a light tan for it, and personally I think that the design works pretty well. Some other people definitely weren't as big a fan of this design choice, but I like it. And you can also see how she has that nougat coloring for the shirt with some shiny gold highlights, if I can get the light to hit it right. There you can see with sort of that nice pattern. There we are. And then you also have like the Beauxbatons crest, and then just a couple of creases in the gold color as well. Focus, please. And she also does have a bit of negative space around the sides, which, yeah, I think that works well. Around the back, she has a very well-detailed Beauxbatons insignia, and then everything else is pretty basic beyond that. We get a couple more lines to sort of shape the waist. We have some more creases, and yeah. Now, Fleur's hairpiece is a relatively common ponytail in light yellow, but her face is none too common, but it's also not perfect. If you don't know, this is Ellie Sattler's face from LEGO Jurassic Park, and currently it appears in 2 Jurassic Park sets and 2 Harry Potter sets, and I mean, it works alright for Fleur, but not great. It just looks very Laura Dern, and not like a Vila, or well, you know, quarter Vila. Anyway, yeah. Now, I do like the expression on this face. This is definitely the better side of the face, but I don't like the corner of the mouth where it's upturned. That just doesn't work for the actress who played Fleur to me. I don't know. But again, I do like the expression here with this slightly, you know, this is almost sort of a slightly mischievous smile. I mean, it's definitely not accurate to how she was portrayed in the films, but I think it works pretty well for book Fleur, at least. With her definitely being a lot smarter than people let on. Because, you know, like, she was a girl. Yeah, sexism was pretty real in Goblet of Fire when you really stop and think about it. Like, objectively, in the first task, which is what this is based on, objectively, Fleur had by far the most impressive performance, because, if you remember, it takes, 8 stunners casting multiple stunning spells to knock out a dragon, and she just puts hers to sleep single-handedly. That is ridiculously impressive. But she still got last place. That was dumb. But anyway, her alternate face, now that I'm done posting my grievances, is a much more frightened one, and yeah, this is literally just Laura Dern from Jurassic Park. This is literally perfect for that, which means that it's obviously not perfect for Fleur, and yeah, this just doesn't work, which is really unfortunate. I mean, I know that Fleur's not, a huge character in the movies, for some reason, but, I think she deserved better than this, which is why it's pretty lucky and cool that in the Beauxbatons Carriage set coming out 1 month after this one, Fleur gets a new face. That's inconsistent, but I mean, hey, this figure's still alright. Again, I really like the torso. The hairpiece is pretty good, and the face is acceptable, but it's not great. But there's only one more figure in the set, and I mean, it has to be good, right? Kinda. Here we have our Bulgarian champion, Viktor Krum of Durmstrang, and this figure is a figure. Starting off, his wand is in dark orange, which is not a common color at all, so it's really cool to get one in this $30 set. I mean, previous to this, the only other figure to have a wand in this color was Newt Scamander, and the 2 ways to get him. It also has come with Madame Maxime in a couple sets. Madame Maxime, sorry, mispronounced it. But, this is the easiest way to get it, probably, unless you're really good at feeling blind bags. Krum has no leg printing, but his torso is really fantastic. It has him wearing a brown robe over his Durmstrang jumper, I suppose. Just sort of a shirt, which has the Durmstrang crest on it, which looks pretty nice. And I like the red inline of the robes. Yeah, I like the colors on this guy, definitely. And I like the back print with the hood, which also has a little crest on it. Yeah, it's really cute. Now, his hairpiece and head, on the other hand, not so sure about these. His hairpiece is Finn's from Star Wars The Force Awakens, and it kind of works. I mean, personally, I probably would have gone with the buzz cut piece that they actually used all the way back in 2005. I think that definitely would have been more accurate, but this is fine. Also, the hair probably should have been in, like, a dark brown. I don't know about black. I mean, again, it's fine, but could have been better. What's not fine, though, is the face, because on Cedric, I really liked the face reuse. I think it works really good. Really well, actually. With Fleur, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's fine. Krum, however, well, this is the better of the 2 faces, and already we have a pretty major issue. He doesn't have facial hair. Krum is supposed to have, like, a mustache and a goatee, and LEGO just didn't do that. And that's because this face is the face of the main character from Tron Legacy. You know, the very popular and well-doing movie, Tron Legacy. So yes, this is that face, and, yeah, I think the expression here, like, halfway works for Krum. I mean, it doesn't look anything like the actor, but you kind of have at least that sort of stern look to him. And it's not a face that you see a bunch around, and it didn't look a lot like the actor from Tron Legacy either, so at least it's not a situation like we had with Fleur, where it looks exactly like another actress, so it's really odd when you reuse it. But, yeah, this face is the better one, and if we turn it around to the other side... Yikes, yeah, this is not good. Krum never smiles like this, ever, in the Goblet of Fire. It just doesn't happen. He never makes a face anywhere like this. I mean, the closest you'd get is like a tiny sliver of a smile. This is not correct. I mean, honestly, like, the mouth shape here isn't that off, but the eyebrows are really what ruin it. Like, if the eyebrows were less pronounced, but he just had this smile, I would have been able to go with it, but the eyebrows just make him look way too happy. And, yeah, that is the Krum figure in the set. Our first Viktor Krum minifigure since 2005. And the torso is really good, but the face just completely ruins it, in my opinion, which is really unfortunate. But minifigures aren't everything the set has to offer, so let's start taking a look at those builds. Starting with The Champion's Tent. Yeah, I know that for a lot of people this is definitely the least interesting of the two builds, but honestly, I really like this tent. I mean, sure, it is essentially a cube. I mean, it's an 8x8 thing, but it looks really good. Like, I really like the shaping up top. It looks fabricy, and especially at the front, how they added these wedge plates. That looks really nice. And at the sides, you have some unequal sort of designs for how over here on the left we have an extension of grass with some rocks. Well, over here we just have a bit of foliage. And if you can't tell by the fact that there are hinges at the back, this is designed to open up. And inside, you actually get a pretty good interior, and the opening up here definitely helps to, sort of mimic how in the movie the tents are way bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. Yeah, I like this. Over here on the left, we have a little bed with the Bobatons and Durmstrang crests up above. And if you don't know how beds work, you lay your figure down on one. I'll put Cedric here since it's been about a year or two since I read the book series, but I'm pretty sure Cedric gets lit on fire or something, so he probably needs to rest after getting, horribly burnt. Luckily, magic can fix that stuff. And then over here, we have a set of drawers with a potion bottle up top, as well as a table with just a couple of cups. And, yeah, I mean, really, I think you could definitely fit 2 figures in here. I'll put Fleur here, and yeah, you can comfortably fit 2 in, and then obviously just, if Cedric doesn't fall out, you could just close it up. I think you might be able to fit 3 in there if you squeeze it. Maybe put Krum on, here. Yeah, that works, but it's not overly comfortable. I don't think you could get 4 in there. I mean, unless you just, squished a figure way back in here and didn't even attach them to studs and just had them just floating back in that panel. But honestly, I think that even being able to get 3 figures in here is pretty good. I personally think that is a bit overcrowded, though, so I'll just stick with 2. Yeah, I really like this tent. Again, very simple, but very nice. I'll just stick Krum over here. But enough about the tent, since I know that that's why very few people are going to be buying the set. Same with the figures. I mean, they're nice, for the most part, but we all know the real reason why people are going to be buying the set. Yep, it's time to take a look at the Golden Egg! Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Time to take a look at the Hungarian Horntail. Oh, and the Golden Egg, too, I guess. You get a little bit of rocky build. Yeah, you get a couple of flames and a chain attached to the dragon. What's really nice is that you get the egg piece from Angry Birds in a metallic gold. It's not just the molded pearl gold. This is fully painted in metallic. So that's really nicely done. And, yeah. So, what you can do, obviously, is you could just give this to a minifigure, and this is sort of how it scales. It looks really nice. It is with Harry holding it. This is a really great look. You could obviously also use this for some Willy Wonka mocks if you wanted to. Go wild. Yeah, I really like the egg, and sort of the idea here is that you would have this bit is keeping the dragon chain down, and then you would have the dragon fly away and break off the chain. The issue is that the dragon is an absolute big boy, and this nest is not, so obviously if you pick up the dragon, it's going to go with you. Now, obviously, you can just hold this down and then yonk the dragon up and the chain just pops off. It only attaches in the middle of one plate, so a very loose connection, but still a strong enough one that it's not going to just leave. But, I do think it would have been nice if they could have, just maybe connected the rocky section onto the tent, so you would have had enough weight going there that you would have been able to just have the dragon break away without having to hold something down. But anyway, looking at the dragon itself, it is pretty large and a bit controversial. The main controversy coming from the head, so of course, that's the last thing we're going to talk about. Starting off, the wings are absolutely enormous, and these molds were actually introduced originally for the old Hungarian Horntail from 2005. And these are a new color for this dragon wing piece, with dark brown for the main color and a trans smoky clear on the ends, so that is see-through, which is nice. And those are double molded, of course, and it's using a sort of marbled style where it's not 100%, like every wing you get is going to be slightly different. No two are going to be the same. And the mixing is pretty good. It's not perfect. Like here you can see that there's kind of an awkward thing here with just sort of a brown line going out here way past where the rest of it is. But overall, it's a really good effect and one that's been working for LEGO for some time. The wings are on hinges, so they can fold up and down, and really far up and down. And just because of how they're designed, you could also sort of fold them forward or back a little to get a bit more posing out of it, which is nice. Those aren't technically legal techniques, but you can sure do them. Now for the main body of the dragon, we have some spikes here. Kind of would have preferred if they just gone with a row of double cheese slopes here. Don't like the gaps, but this is good. I get what they were going for with trying to get a bunch of individual spikes. I just don't know if it worked out perfectly. I like this bit, though, and this sticker we have here actually looks really good. I really do like that sticker. With the big spike and all the little ones, that's good. The tail has a bunch of ball joints on it, culminating at the end with, well, the Horntail itself. We have 4 spikes building up to this one enormous one, which could easily skewer a figure. The wings, I forgot to mention, have these little barbs underneath, and the dragon's legs are the same on each side, aside from obviously the barb there is in a different place. They can move forward and back and in and out, and I think they look good. Maybe a bit chunky in comparison to the rest of the thing, but I think they look well enough. And if you can't tell, the talons at the bottom are pretty wide, 8 apart, which keeps the dragon standing upright. And you can pose all these individually, so if you wanted to give it a smaller space to stand on, you could, if you could balance it just right. Or you could use that to obviously grab something, which would work pretty well, I feel. Now, time to talk about the head. First off, it's attached to a neck. But the head itself is pretty controversial because, gasp, LEGO didn't make a new piece for it. Instead, the head actually uses the head of the Akami and the Thunderbird, they both use the same piece, from the Fantastic Beasts suitcase set. And, personally, I don't mind that much. I mean, is it perfect? No, it's a bit small and it doesn't have any actual, teeth. But I really do like the shape of the top. Like, I think the no teeth is only really an issue on the bottom where it's really obvious, but with the main top headpiece, like, that shaping with the different angles and it coming to having the little beak, that's essentially perfect. I mean, I would not change that in the slightest. The printing is also really good with all of the different dark brown horns that edge out to be a light tan. And the little beady eyes are really well captured as well. Those are good. And at the back we have 4 horns attached on, which aren't very sturdy. They can easily snap off, but as long as you're careful around the head, you're not going to have too many issues. And interestingly, you have a little build here, where if you can't tell, he's spitting fire. And if I just open up the mouth a bit more so you can sort of see inside, how that works is that you have the LEGO Agent's pistol piece that's used for a fire hose nozzle in Lego City. You have that there, and attached to that you have a piece with a clip which has a flame coming out of it. And because that's in there, you can't really close the mouth beyond this, but I really like the look of that. So honestly, I get why people are annoyed about the head, because it is kind of small. Like, bringing in Harry again. Yeah, the scaling is a bit off, definitely, and in general, that is sort of the thing for the whole dragon. Like, this is undoubtedly smaller than it should be in universe, as the flame comes out of the mouth, because I put the head at a really weird angle there. But, yeah, but honestly, I think that there is a couple of good things to this. Number one, it keeps the set from being super overpriced, because obviously if the dragon was really huge, it would have more pieces and cost more money. And number two, and that's also a good reason why it's good that they didn't introduce a couple of new molds for the head, because obviously if the set had to spend money on a couple of new molds, they would have had to bump up the price accordingly. But the other good thing about the scaling is that it keeps it within a reasonable scale of both the other beasts that we have from Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter, and within reasonable scale of the castle, because if you haven't noticed, the castle pieces that we get as sets obviously are not really in one-to-one scale with how they appeared in the movies. And it gets a bit awkward when you have stuff like the night bus being the same height as the Hogwarts Great Hall and more than half of its width. Like, that's a bit funky. So obviously if the Horntail was at actual size, it would look ridiculous in comparison to the other Hogwarts sets. Meanwhile, at this size, you could reasonably, if you found a good way to attach it onto the Hogwarts Great Hall, it wouldn't look too funky at the top of the Grand Staircase Tower. I mean, even now, it would still be a bit large looking, and obviously way bigger in comparison to the tower than it was in the movie, but it would still work pretty well. So, yeah. I really like the scaling on this guy. However, there is one thing I do want to comment on, because as I've mentioned prior, a lot of people, when they heard this was coming, had expected LEGO to splurge and use a newly molded headpiece. And others still were frightened that LEGO was going to use a brick-built design, like they've been doing with a lot of Ninjago dragons recently, and like they did with quite a few of the Fantastic Beasts, like the Erumpent and the Basilisk. I, however, might have been unique in that I was expecting them to use a different dragon head, so just for fun, let's take a quick look at what that might have looked like now. That's right, what I had been expecting LEGO to do when we first got news of this set coming out was I'd expected them to use a recolor of the Ninjago Golden Dragon head, specifically the 2019 version we see here. Now, aside from the fact that it just seemed weird to me that that Ninjago dragon heads for so long and the Golden Dragon, for some reason, had a molded head, I honestly thought and still think that this works pretty well for the Horntail. Number one, they have the gap at the front of the head where you put a stud shooter in the Golden Dragon set, but here, I think it just works really well as a place to have flames spew out of. Since normally with LEGO Dragons they end up having the fire shooting out of the nose, which doesn't really work, this is a pretty good difference here. And in general, I just think the shaping here is pretty good and actually pretty similar to what we have for the head we get officially. And first off, here's what the head looks like with the mouth closed, which you can only see when you pull out the fire. And yeah, this Golden Dragon head's a lot bigger, but it has similar shaping with the angles that we have here. However, there are differences, mainly that the angles here are definitely more pronounced, and we have this large row of spikes on top, which is actually there in the movie, how we have, like, I think 2 spikes and then a big one coming off the back, which is completely missing from the official head, oddly enough. But yeah, personally, this wasn't really for the sake of saying that they should have done this instead, nor to say that they should have done this and that what they did was the correct option. This was just sort of to show off something I thought was interesting and no one else to my knowledge has covered, and I'd be interested to see what it would look like if someone, I'm not going to, but if someone were to take a golden dragon head, probably modify it a little, like definitely cut off the little goatee here at the bottom and maybe some other stuff, and paint it up to be a Hungarian Horntail head. That would be interesting to see. But anyway, pulling off this head and inserting the correct one, that is really all I have to say with the set. Overall, I really like the dragon. I will admit that the head isn't perfect, but it's pretty good, and everything else is really fantastic. I love the tent. The minifigures are hit or miss, but 3 out of the 4 times, I'd say that they're a hit. But before we wrap up this video, let's take a look at the box, the instruction manual, and the extra pieces. The box is a rather wide $30 box size, with the standard design for the new Harry Potter sets for this year. At the top left, we have Lego Harry Potter, with the text being in gold. At the top right, we have Harry, Ron, and Hermione from Order of the Phoenix. Bottom right, we have the Wizarding World logo. Bottom left, we have our minifigures. At the left column, we have the information for the set, and our main image it's pretty good, where you have Harry battling the Horntail to get to the egg in the forefront, while in the background we have our other 3 champions down by the tent, which makes sense, really. I mean, it would be completely inaccurate to have them fighting the dragon with Harry, so I guess this is the best way to go about it. And none of them are hidden away, which is good. At the top, we have all 4 of our champions, I guess, celebrating a bit after they've all completed the task and not been eaten to death by dragons. We have a very disgruntled and angsty Harry sporting the actual size reference. At the left, we have some more stuff and some translations into other languages. Over here, we have an ad for Lego Facebook. And here at the back, we have a couple of side images on the right, one showing you that the tent can open, and the other, I guess, just having the Horntail nesting. And our main image at the back shows Harry being chased by the dragon, and the tent being open, so I don't know why it was necessary to have an image at the right showing that you can open it when it's shown right here, but yeah, and they're all just chilling again. Although this time they're chilling while Harry is being chased by the dragon, so I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, yeah, that was the box. Now let's look at the manual. This manual, like I believe all of the 2019 manuals, has a QR code in the bottom right that you can scan onto your device to get the building instructions on it. I mean, I don't know why you can't just download them from Lego.com or use this manual, but I mean, hey, if you prefer to build on your tablet, then you be you. Anyway, the set comes in 2 numbered bags, and you get a total of, flipping through, a total of 47 pages of building, with 1 extra at the end showing everything put together, with the Horntail having its wings up very high. Then here we have an ad for colors and Lego Life. Here we have an ad for the 4 sets that aren't purple. And here we have the parts list. And then at the back, we have Win minifigure, because I guess Win Kid died in Vietnam or whatever. That's unfortunate. Anyway, time for extra pieces, and then, we'll wrap up the video. Also, Win Kid didn't actually die in Vietnam, obviously, because, he's from the mid-2000s. Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder what happened to Win Kid, though. For a relatively small set, we get a pretty good selection of extra pieces, including, just looking around in here, we get an extra of each of the wand colors in the set, so an extra dark brown, brown, dark tan, and the really cool one is the dark orange, since that's not very common, and we also get the new wand sprue color for each of them, so you get 4 of the new sprue. Don't like the new sprue that much because it looks so much less interesting than the original design, but the wands look better on them, so I guess it's better that way. Then we get an assortment of studs, some with holes in them and some without. In fact, in brown and gold, you get a normal stud and a holy stud in each color. We have an agent's pistol, a horn, and then we just like some cheese slopes and junk. Oh, and also a jewel, which is nice. Okay, now that that's done, let's wrap up this review, shall we? Now for the final verdict, hang on, something's not right here. There we go. I didn't really have a good place to bring it up earlier in the video, but an issue that prevails not just with this set, but with basically every set where LEGO wants to have someone flying around is they need to include clear stands. Like, this stand here is made up of 4 pretty common clear pieces, and it just makes the set so much better, in my opinion. So you probably have some clear pieces in your collection. Use them to fashion a little stand for Harry in this set, because, like, it makes the set so much better, in my opinion. Like, I cannot overstate or understate or state in general just how much more I liked the set as soon as I gave those few extra pieces to Harry to let him actually fly. But anyway, enough about the stand. For $30, would I recommend LEGO Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire Hungarian Horntail Triwizard Challenge? And the answer is complex. Because objectively, this is a good set, and I personally would get it. But definitely not as your first Goblet of Fire set. If you want a set from that movie, I would definitely wait until August and get the Rise of Voldemort set. Or, if you have a good amount of money, get the Clock Tower. In general, for this wave, there are definitely better sets to get for the series than this, because really, this is a good set if you're not getting the Clock Tower, because it's the other way to get all of the champions. Of course, Fleur and Cedric are also in other ways besides this and the Clock Tower, and since we are apparently getting 4 more sets next year, some of which for in the winter, and since that's before the release season where they would do 5 and 6, there's a good chance that those might be based on, at least some of them might be for Goblet of Fire. We could get another set with Krum as well. So none of the characters are exclusive, which is a blow against the set. But, yeah, I'm dodging the question. Would I get the set? Yes. But again, it's sort of like last year with the Quidditch match set, where it is a pretty good set. This set isn't as good as the Quidditch match, in my opinion, but, you know, this is pretty alright. Aside from Krum, the figures are all pretty good. Krum's still fine because of the torso, but he could have been so much better if they could have at least chosen a better face to give him, even if it's not going to be a new print. But I really adore the tent for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but that just really, I really like that tent. And the dragon is a really good build as well. So, but again, much like the Quidditch set, this is a pretty good set, just not a pretty good first set. So I would definitely get at least, a couple of other sets. Maybe not Goblet of Fire specifically, but just a couple of other Harry Potter sets in general before I would think about picking this one up. And I guess those are my opinions. It's pretty good, just not as a standalone display piece. Like, it's good as a standalone playset to have fun with, and if you are just gonna get a Harry Potter set to play with, this isn't a bad choice. But if you're like me, and I presume a good amount of the other people who watch my videos, and you're getting these sets to put on display, yeah, this definitely wouldn't work fantastically as just a standalone display item. But those are just my 2 cents. And thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one, coming very soon. Good night, everyone. Oh, and mischief managed.